Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back. I hope you all are doing fantastic. Today I'm on a game called Sword and Staff. Now, I've been playing it for just shy of a month, been enjoying it, and having some heated discussions with my guild here and working on like different tips and tricks and stuff. But today's video is going to be mostly about the primary class that I've chosen to play, and that's going to be the defensive kind. So I'm a Paladin. And I've seen a couple different videos out there about some builds and stuff, and while the builds that they use are decent, I've come up with a couple other ones that work really well. So as you can see here, I'm just now into Season 1, sitting at 2.25 million power here as my character. You know, still got a few things to work on here. Got this to get to 100 to get season level. My pets are at 110. Skills are all just a little over 100, a couple at 103, mostly at 102, so pretty fresh into the server here. For my progression here, as you can see, I'm rank 7. I'm a light spender. I've spent a couple hundred, nothing too crazy, but we have a couple whales in here. My buddy sitting at 9. Gameplay wise, you know, that's where we're sitting. We just got day 2 unlocked of whaleback, so gives you an idea of where we're at here in the season. For the daily login here, you're sitting at day 27 out of 30. And I just wanted to showcase a few of the different builds that I've come across myself. So a lot of the toolkit for Paladin is going to be defense for when you're doing your solo stuff and or group stuff. So as you can see, you have solo PvE. This skill actually was something I threw on for a guildmate, but this is typically kind of the general setup I like to do in kind of solo PvE type content for more of my, when I need to be really defensive. So you got Stone Skin for just passive damage reduction. Every time you get hit, stacks up for 9 times. You take 2.5% reduction at this mythic level. Block efficiency to reduce the damage that you take when you do get a block. And then we got block rate to increase, because when your block rate gets to a certain point, you have a chance to block the attack. If the attack's blocked, your damage gets reduced. Then just straight defense here. There's a couple different things you can swap in and out. A couple different techniques that I like to mix and match here. If a target is shielded, this is a fantastic one because it does doom damage, which is 100% extra damage to shielded enemies and or minions, to summons essentially. So if you find yourself having trouble and there's a boss or something like that summoning minions or has a shield, slap this on. It'll do a lot more damage to those types of targets. Other than that, for primary skills, you got your taunt here, which is really good for group play. Heavy impact is a solid pickup here. If you need to apply debuffs, leap attack can get armor break, which is reducing their armor by 30%, which is a really big reduction there. For charms here, if you feel like you don't need as much defensive here, you can swap off a couple. A really good solid option if you need more health because the defense isn't really helping as much. You can throw Blade of Lament on. Counterblade is another fantastic one, still very useful. Let's see here. Other than that, as far as defense goes, that's probably your main ones. You could throw on reflective armor if you're throwing a shield, since I'm shielding up here. Another technique I forgot to mention is going to be this Desperate Protection. I don't use it too often, simply just because it has a 2-turn cooldown. It does 34% plus 41k of your shield based off your defense, whereas that mythic one, this is 20% at 18.4k. So yeah, it's a little bit under, you know, 15% almost, I believe. Yeah, 34, so 14% less, and it's got 18 compared to, you know, 41, so about 20k under. But the problem is, a lot of the times I've noticed is your shield's going to be gone regardless if you have this big one. So I'd rather get something on every other turn or every single turn, because it's got a 1-turn cooldown compared to 2. So this just usually seems to last longer in defensive setups for myself that I've noticed. Aegis Wing is a fantastic pet. If you don't have Aegis Wing, a really good option is Armopi. Very easy to get. Oro, he's a fantastic option as well, since he can add shield at Immortal. He gives you 16.5%. I don't have this one very far, so it's only giving me a 11.8% shield as well as a 5.5% defense bonus there. If you don't have any of those, a healing pad or something of that nature, you should have Armopi or at least Burrow. Those are fairly common. Really good options for the tank here. For my dungeon setup, this is pretty much what I like to do. Sometimes I'll swap this off from Valor Surge to something else, because this is a team buff slash cleanse, so it removes its debuffs and gives a damage bonus. If I don't really feel like I need that and I need to go a little bit more tanky, I swapped it off, or I need to keep things on me, you know, usually maybe a shield or a different attack, things like that. Star Shattering Slash if I feel like I need more damage, which is pretty much going to be this setup here. I apply, you know, my block, and I have my block and rebound over here. Rebounds are one of our bread and butter skills for some good setups. This is like a PvP build that I usually use. So this is a very solid option. Conquest. Now Conquest is different for me. I don't see a lot of people running full crit setup and attacks, as well as Sylphie here. So the big thing that you want to focus on when it comes to Conquest and or solo or you know, guild boss type stuff is damage, right? So we throw on both our damage charms here. So you've got Warrior's Essence at 15.2k attack, Strength Rules, Physical Mastery 4.12, Sundered, Pursuit of Victory. So in a group setting, there's always going to be somebody doing some kind of debuff. So you're going to get this 17.5% up the entire time. A really good alternative to that one would be Eye for an Eye, which is right here. So, you know, you can stack up to 10 times an additional 4.5% or 4.25% damage up to 10 times. So, you know, roughly 40-some% damage bonus potential there. But I like to try and make it something a little bit consistent. So having that non-consistency where, let's say I don't get hit at all around, then I'm down damage, right? Whereas I could be up 17.5% the entirety of the entire fight. A really good alternative, let's say you don't want to run this, you can run the shield and then drop off an attack, but ideally the main goal is to get in as many attacks as you can and maximizing that damage. So that's why we're running Bloodlust. Boiling Bloodlust here gives us a 50% crit rate and, you know, 4.98 crit damage. And we have Insightful Eye here giving us another 20% crit. So that's roughly putting us at about 80 to 90-ish% crit based on gear. Obviously this could be higher. If you can get your crit rate up higher, then you can drop off Insightful Eye for another damaging type charm like Eye for an Eye, or, you know, speed if you want to speed up yourself. You could throw on Counterblade. You know, there's a couple different options you could do. Not a whole lot. You could even maybe throw on Blade Tempest. Oh, excuse me. And then if I were to throw on Blade Tempest, let's say I didn't need Insightful Eye and I throw on Blade Tempest, what I would do here, I would probably take off Heavy Impact, simply because if I take Blade Tempest, put it on, the technique I would then run would be Lion's Combo, because it hits 3 times and it hits fairly strong and it's on a 0 cooldown. So you're going to get this off every single round and it's going to do really well. Lion's Combo is still a fantastic choice. Reason you don't want to do this hits 4 times on a cooldown. I may have to mess around with this a little bit in that kind of a setup. Let's say I don't need that crit, right? And we'd like to run Sylphie for the speed boost and the attack boost. So we're getting a 4.4% speed boost as well as a 7.5% attack boost here. So that's really huge. So we're maximizing our speed and our attack. More speed means more times you can get your attacks off. It actually does make a difference. My tournament setup here is all about defense, keeping the enemies put together for my allies. So we're using Lunar Water Threads here. Also applies Cult, so if I have any of my allies running any kind of water skills, it's going to allow the enemy here to take an additional 5% damage per stack of that. So that's really huge. I run Luminous Shield, Taunt, because you can actually taunt in 4v4 PvP, and Shield. I run Reflective Armor now. This is something I'm going to be trying out this next tournament come up Saturday, because Reflective Armor, while you have a shield up, you reflect a percentage of that damage back to the attacker as light damage, which is really huge, and I'm going to show it off here in one of my last few builds. So this is my Ascent Tower setup. Some of this changes just a tiny bit depending on, you know, more mobbing or more bossing. So like this will get swapped off for Star Shattering Slash here if I need to DPS down a boss, since this is prioritizes large targets. So then you have Counterblade, Rebound for your standard block and sending that damage back, Ripple Impact here, Reflective Armor. The reason this works really well is Bolro here gives you a shield every time you lose 15% of your health, and it's based on your defense, and this can trigger up to 5 times. So this is very strong with this particular setup. So you're getting a shield here, you're getting a shield here. Reflective Armor is going to be proccing a ton, and I'm going to show this off. And you don't need to worry too much about, you know, Counterblade here. Counterblade works really well in this scenario because when you're doing Ascent or any kind of like solo stuff like that, you are the only target. So enemies are going to come right up into your face and hit you, and you have a chance every time, 50% chance to reduce that, or to reflect that damage back, to hit them back for 50% of your physical damage. Yeah, 56% damage back. It is really huge. And then you have Ripple Shield here doing fantastic damage. Rebound obviously, so you're getting 3 counter procs right here potentially. If something hits you, you have a chance for Rebound to hit them back. If something hits you, you have a chance for Counterblade to hit it. If you have a shield, you are going to reflect that damage back to them. Another thing to focus as well with this and to keep in mind is Rebound can crit. So if your crit rate's high, that Rebound can hit back really hard. Harder than you got hit, for instance. So it's a super solid setup. And like I said, depending on what kind I need, this is the only skill that I really swap out, simply because I need that block. This gives you 45% block. That is so huge. And then we have a shield. Frostbite, go ahead and keep that on there because it does water damage, and as Ripple Impact goes off, it's going to apply up 3 stacks of cold for 2 turns to enemies. So you're just going to get that proccing quite often, and it's going to do lots of damage. And then finally, Guild Boss, kind of the same thing. This last slot's usually something I use to tinker around with things and builds and setups, but it's pretty much the same as my Conquest setup. So let's go ahead and showcase my, let's go to 4 here. Let's do Monster Group 2, right? So we got all these enemies here. We're just gonna throw it to 50 rounds, and we're gonna do normal for everything here, right? So we're gonna start this test to show you guys exactly how this build really works. So we have a boss in here, right? So we'll see how this plays out, right? So we're shielding. Oh, he hit us. Look at how much damage he took right there, just from rebounding. Me not even doing anything. But hitting for so much damage. All these enemies just took a giant chunk. Boom, they're all dead. Boom, they're dead. Getting hit hard, but look, that 97,000 was a critical rebound. The shield proccing, boom, proccing. We're just wiping the floor with this. Boom, boom. And we're gonna go ahead and show it off in the actual Ascent, because even though I'm 2.25 million, you guys will see I'm actually quite high on the tower. I'm up there, probably top 5, I think. Boom, look at that. We did 13.4 million damage. So if we go into the breakdown here, we tanked 9.3 million, did 13.4, right? Here's our skill report, right? So we did 2.4 million with Frostbite, just shy of 2 million with this, 800k with this, 4 million with Ripple Impact. This is huge damage. 2.6 million on Rebound, and look at Reflective. Reflective Armor, because it's based off shield, Rebound is up all the time. It did just under, just a million less than Rebound. It did more than Counterblade. So maybe if you want, you could swap Counterblade off for something else. But you know, this is all damage, and Counterblade obviously is at a 50% chance, right? So a little RNG is involved here, but it did so well. So let's go ahead and show you guys this particular setup. In an actual practical sense here, after I go grab this gold. Sorry, I'm a fiend when it comes to gold, man. Gold is so good. I'll be dropping a video about different things here that you want to invest in my opinion. That's very good. But today, this video is all about showcasing Paladin in different builds. And the kind of builds that I use. There's a lot of different things you can do when it comes to the Paladin, and not a lot of people, I think, see that. Look, I'm at floor 128, right? This requires 2.86 million, right? I'm 2.25 million. That's over a 600k difference, right? So 2.4 to 5, that's 6.61 million different. So essentially 610,000 combat power difference at floor 128. So if we look at this floor, right, here's kind of my process. So okay, we got a lot of these guys, right? So maybe something I might want to do to maximize things. So I don't need to worry about this, right? So I'll come in here and I'll edit, right? Okay. This is a 1-turn cooldown. It does this. I don't think I have any shielded enemies. So something I might want to do, maybe I want to do maybe this. This is a 1-turn cooldown. It does 4 damage. We'll try it, right? I'm only really ever changing this one. I was thinking Lion's combo because I can get it off every turn, and since there's a lot more enemies, that's kind of what we want to focus. As I can see here, boom, boom, boom. Look at all this. Just watch this work. Everything just took massive amounts of damage there. Now we're probably gonna die simply because I just don't have the defense. So we can retry, right? Okay, that didn't work out. Let's try something else. Maybe Counterblade really isn't helping me here. So instead, let's go damage reduction maybe. Because every time you get hit, you're gonna reduce damage. Or maybe I need just more defense, right? To get a better shield. So let's try it with a better defense. We'll see if we get closer that way. You know, it's just these small tweaks based off of the primary setup. And you use kind of watch the battle. A lot of people don't like to watch, and I understand it, but you can learn quite a bit about things just by watching. So as you can see there, we survived a little bit longer, and we still didn't quite get it, right? Okay, that didn't quite work out. That straight defense wasn't as helpful. So I think, just based off of what I have here, this will probably be a bit better, right? We're still using these three. These three are almost always going to be on here. Same with these. Now, like I said, there's only 1 to 2 of these that I'm going to change. 1 charm, 1 technique, usually that I rotate around and mess with. Now let's say sometimes I'll like, okay, maybe I need the bigger shield. Maybe I need to take that into consideration. I drop this on because the more shield I have, the better defense I'll be, because it's going to take them longer to get through that shield. Think of it as free health, right? So let's see how this one goes. So we take less and less damage every time they hit us, and it stacks up so much. Now we're not getting as much damage off because Counterblade isn't on, but you know. Okay, see, that ended up being less. So the other option was better. So then what I'll do, for instance, we'll challenge this, right? Okay, so the defense setup was a little bit better. Counter was probably just as good. So let's say we throw this on. Instead of worrying about this, let's take this off and kind of lean in onto our shielding here. Lean off of Ripple Impact and Reflective Armor, because they do great damage. Now the problem with this is it's going to take, you know, an extra turn here, but we're going to get a double shield right here, right? Boom, look at that, big shield. That's going to allow us to survive longer. See that shield? Helped us out. Boom, look at that big shield right here. Boom, okay, boom, look, see? Just a little bit of tweaking, and this is kind of what I'm talking about, guys. When it comes to your setups and your things that you're doing, just watch the fight, know how your character works, and play off of that. So let's continue. Let's go to the next fight. Okay, we have pretty much the similar thing. Let's just continue with the setup we got. We know that we're going to need to be a lot tankier for us to survive these next areas, because the enemy is getting stronger every single stage, right? Sometimes you're going to come up against enemies that are resistant to water, so you're going to have to adjust things. I don't think I have the strength or the power, even with tweaking, to get past this one. I think this one's gonna be solely a block on me, right? I didn't get anywhere close to that. I don't think I have the power to get past this stage, as this stage requires 2.92 million. So as you can see, we were able to showcase exactly what we're doing. We're 99.9% ahead of the players. We are rank 4. We are 4 stages higher than the next player. The next player is a semi-whale. They already have a mythic piece, a divine piece, apologies. They're 2.23 million. They're level 107, or at least they used to be. They don't have many other things here. They're not as, you know, like this person who's got divine skills, you know, level 107, 2.56. I'm very close to them in power because I'm 2.2. You know, this person, look at all these divine skills they have. Super, 3 million. Like, we don't have very many whales in this server, but there's a few. And as you can see, just slight changes. Nobody's been running this particular reflective shield. A lot of people don't use it. And I don't understand why, because it's actually really good. Because the biggest thing about it, anytime you're shielded, that skill is going to go off, no matter what. That charm will activate. The problem right now with Paladin, unfortunately, is the shields aren't that strong yet. Now, come Guardian, the next class unlock, we are going to get an item to increase the effectiveness of our shields. So our shields are about to become super strong, and I think this build is going to push us even further. I have 151k hit points, 179k defense, you know, almost 600k hit points. As you see, I only got 2 mythic pieces, 207s. I'm working on a third right now. Let's see if I got it. I might have gotten it. I don't have too much in here anymore. I got a couple minutes and I'm about to get this shield. I've been doing Nightmare because I just unlocked it. Boom, just unlocked it. If we go into my guild here, I'm the vice leader next to a good buddy of mine. We go to Conquest. Rankings, as you can see here on my personal, I've done 1.41 billion damage. And this is after a day or so of switching guilds. Now my buddy Finnery here is getting a lot better. The last few days my damage has dropped off significantly because I've kind of goofed up the build, trying things out. But to showcase my... yeah, we'll do it in testing. I'll showcase my Crucible setup here as well against a boss here. So if we go in here, we drop this down to just boss. We do this 50 rounds, right? This is simulating guild boss. If we do, oh wait, I goofed that up, it didn't switch. We did 4.25 million, only lasted 12 rounds. But we killed the boss. Right, so that's tower. I want Conquest, right? No, I want Conquest. Now, apologies, this video is getting a little long here, but we did that in 6 turns, did 4.1 million damage, right? I wonder how far we can push. Let's just finish this one up. We're gonna adjust the settings here, right? So if we do unlimited, right, when we start, you're gonna see our number is gonna be pretty significant. We did 55.9 million, right? We're going to the breakdown here into our skill report. Star Shattering Slash is doing 21.8 million. Ricocheting Shield is doing 20 million. This is almost mandatory, right? See, this isn't getting us any damage, I don't think, because we're not applying debuffs. We're not getting a debuff on this enemy. So like, let's say I swapped off this, right? If I remove this and I put on this, then I would get more damage, right? Now I'm thinking about stuff, right? So just to showcase the difference, right? This is giving us 6. So if we choose a pet that's doing a debuff, like the cat is a very fantastic choice for testing because it applies that debuff. So look, we did 59.4 million with the cat, right? And the reason is because we're actually getting damages from this here. We're actually getting that damage here because we were applying a debuff or an ailment. So you have to think about this in a sense that if you're going to use this as a test, it's not going to be 100%, you know, showing you exactly what you're going to do in all scenarios, because you're actually going to do more damage because you need to apply that debuff, right? In a group setting, especially in your guild, there's going to be a sage, more likely. There's going to be a berserker, somebody there to apply a debuff to that boss. It's going to happen. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's why you want to run that. But just to showcase, you know, kind of what you can do by adding a debuff, that there is a very good option. Now, I don't know if there's, I don't remember if there's any other pets that add debuffs. I can't remember. This, yeah, reduces their attack. So let's say we go with this one, right? Reducing their attack. I like to do the defense reduction simply for the extra damage. We did 58.8 million, right? Average 1 million a turn, right? Using these tools that you have with you is very good. Paladin is a very, very fun class. It's super cool to see the differences and the different types of ways you can set up a character, right? Like I said, not a lot of people I see out there are running this one. Usually it's just straight, well, you know, this, and then they run the 2 defense charms. They'll run either this, they'll run block awareness, block efficiency, or block mastery, sorry. These are all fantastic options, right? But when I go to tower, I want to DPS things. If I need to be tankier, then yeah, I'm gonna slot in, you know, another tank thing. But these shields are, think of the shields basically as your defense, right? Think of them as your charms that you're using for defense, right? Because these shields are inflating your health. It's allowing you to take more hits because you have more of a health pool for them to hit before they take out your actual health pool. It's very, very important to understand these types of concepts, guys. But this video's gotten pretty long, and I hope this helps you guys understand kind of where I'm at with the Paladin and kind of how things work with these different builds here and showcasing that. Obviously, take these, try them out for yourself. Hit me up anywhere on here, and yeah, I'll be more than happy to show you guys. Till then, I hope you guys have a fantastic one. Peace out and much love.